My grandson lives with us, and he and my wife were arguing, and he said, "Bite me." And she said, "That's what we'll name the cider." So she came up with what you see on the label. She came up with the Bite Me Lady, and that's how we got the name 3 years ago. So this is our third year, going into our fourth year, I think, of getting apples from people who live around here, as far north as Taos, south to Espanola, and a little bit out of Abiquiu. So it's our neighbors, and they're really glad to have a market for their apples. And pretty soon the word got out. We didn't advertise or anything. Just people started showing up and say, "Well, I live over here and I have 10 trees. Well, I live over here and I have 25 trees. Well, I live over here and I have 100 trees." And so we're getting apples from our neighbors that are very pleased to have a small market for their apples. And I've actually met more of my neighbors in the last 3 years than I had in the previous 17. After we press off the juice, grind them and press off the juice, we start using wine yeasts. And the wine yeast can take care of a lot of different things around the edges, and gives us a really unique taste with our apple cider because of the use of wine yeast. It's basically an apple wine before we get through with it. At this point, we combine all different types of apples, from yellow delicious to some regular wine apples. One of the most flavorful is wine sap, but also the little crab apples are really good for flavor. So we continue to experiment with ciders similar to what we've done with wine. We make about 30 different wines because we want to try different things on our wine and for our palates, and everybody's palate's a little bit different around here. We say it's art in a bottle. My wife's the artist that you see on the bottles and here in the tasting room, and I do the art in the bottle. Well, this is a glass of our Capulin, our chokecherry cider.
This is how you know you're in northern New Mexico.
Exactly. The Capulin chokecherries grow wild, and so you send your kids out to pick them. They're full of tannins, and so kids won't eat them much because it makes their mouth pucker up. But it makes great jellies and jams. And so we thought, well, what if we put it in a cider? So along with the apples, we put out a note, we will buy chokecherries. And then chokecherry is just everybody knows that. Capulin is Indian Spanish for chokecherry. And so it was fun to call it Capulin. I like it because it has the tannins in it that reminds me of wine, just a little bit. There's a little bit of tannin on the side of your mouth, and a little bit of crispness that is not in every cider. Even though this is a little sweet, there's still a crispness to it, and the chokecherry, like I said, brings the tannins into the wine. It's a nice, smooth wine. It's probably one of our best sellers. I mean, it is one of our best sellers. What has really excited us is the neighbors, getting to know the neighbors, but also being able to go to breweries and restaurants and have our ciders in breweries and restaurants. After 20 years in the wine business, it's for me. But when I get to see my cider, then my eyes light up again. And so that makes it's brought back some more fun into a business, and it's opened up some doors where I never even knew there was a door.